Monday, September 17th, 2022. I am Solid Blue Sister, and this is My Turn to Talk. And I hope everyone is having a wonderful day, because I am having a wonderful day, and I hope everyone else is having a wonderful day. And for anyone listening over on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, thank you and welcome, welcome. Hey, Frankie, welcome, welcome. Okay, so I think I'm going to get started. Hey, welcome, welcome. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. And today, what I would like to talk about is cameras. Hey, Minnesota family. Hey, Brina. Welcome, welcome. I want to talk about cameras inside the home. And are you violating privacy for guests and family members? Okay, and I'm being specific here. I'm saying for guests or for family members. Are you violating their privacy? And what I mean by that is, if someone comes over, your house and you have cameras in the home for whatever reason, and let's say somebody just picks up just there's no audio and some of it does. Welcome, Shelby. Is that a violation of their privacy if you pick up some of their conversation? Let's say they're sitting in your living room, and they're talking amongst themselves. Is that a violation of privacy? You know, welcome, Loverboy. You know, even if you're outside, you have cameras outside. Let's say, you know, you're having a barbecue or a cookout, and you know, people are in your, you know, backyard or wherever, and you have cameras around. And again, it not only does it pick up visual, but it picks up audio. Is that a violation of privacy? What if people don't know that you have a camera? And let's say a couple, they go over to the corner, and I'm not saying they're making out, because hopefully no one will make out at your house. But let's just say they just, you know, share a tender moment or whatever. Is that a violation of their privacy? So those are the questions that I have. And again, I'm being very specific about inside your home or around your personal property, not, you know, well, you go out into the street and, you know, what if you kiss somebody and, you know, there's a camera, you know, on a street light. Well, everyone pretty much knows that for the most part, 99, if not all of the country is pretty much has cameras. So if you go somewhere and you do things like that, more than likely it's going to be on camera. And Brina says, yeah, that's weird. If you're having a get together, that should be turned off. Okay, but Brina, what if I say, well, I don't want to turn my cameras off because somebody may come in my house and somebody may steal something, or the reason why I got the cameras in the first place is because I had guests over once before. something turned up missing. I don't know who took it, but to be on the safe side, I just want cameras around so I can kind of keep an eye on people. And Brina says, my son's dad had a camera inside pointing at the front door, but I don't believe it records audio. He mainly does it because she's only 15. Okay. So you guys are speaking to each other. Okay, that information should be disclosed. Okay, so, but should it be? And again, I'm playing both sides here because me personally, I do not have cameras inside my home, but I do have cameras around the property. Um, uh, but if I did have cameras inside the home, I would say, you guys, I have cameras. And if it does record audio, because I know some of the indoor cameras, they do record audio. Should you make a point, if you have guests in your home, if you're not going to turn off the camera, should you make a point of turning off the audio? Because when I am around someone's, house, and practically, a lot of people have Ring or some other type of camera, that is by the front door. I tell people, let's step away, whatever, because I know those things record. And even if I'm talking about nothing important, I still don't want to have my conversation recorded for the homeowner. And I have actually told people who have, been outside my house, and I've said, you guys may want to go, go over closer to the street because I'm picking up your conversation. So, let's see, that information should be disclosed. Yeah, I think it's weird when you don't know you're being recorded inside. Okay, and Loverboy says someone is being a creep. And Shelby says, I think if it is just audio. Okay, so Brina, you said that your uncle, let me go back. My son's dad had a camera inside pointing at the front door, mainly because she's only 15. Okay, so we know that parents have cameras in their children's room. We know that, if your child's a toddler, whatever, but when do you take those cameras out? Because I do know of some people, in fact, I know two of my friends who have cameras in their older children's rooms. And when I say older children, I mean 10, 11, 12, and even one of my friends, her daughter is 16. And I told her, I think that's just wrong. Because there's privacy there. Do I have to always get up under the blankets every time I'm going to change my clothes or run into the bathroom? I mean, and she says, well, I'm doing it because I need to keep an eye on her. But then it comes into trust and what have you. But when do you take the cameras out of your child's room? When do you do that? Okay, and Loverboy, I totally agree. Kids do need their privacy. Oh no, puberty is off limits. Shelby says. Okay, Brina says, I think that's doing too much. Past being a baby, there's no need for cameras in the bedroom. Okay, so Brina, when you say past being a baby, are you saying when they're 1 or 2, or if does a toddler still need cameras? Okay, maybe like 2. Okay, so now, and again, hey, Petty Deb, welcome. So my next question is, okay, once they get their big kid bed, oh boy, I do remember those days going from one bed to the other. So, okay, so again, I'm talking about inside your home, cameras inside your home. So you have an Airbnb, okay, and you're renting it out. Do you put cameras inside? And then I say that because there are some Airbnbs that have cameras in the bedrooms. I think that's going way too far. But even if it's just in the living room or in the kitchen or something. And what if that couple is making out or has sex in the living room or whatever? Is that your business? And you can say, oh, I erase it. But number one, do people really? And secondly, again, is that going too far? Yes, it is your property, but you're also renting them. Because, are there some hotels? I mean, what if hotels? And I do believe that some do hotels or motels or no-tels, whatever you want to call them. I do believe that some of them do. So, does a hotel have a right to put a camera in your room? Rena was laughing at that. The big kid man sounds kinky. No, they're not. You know what? I don't think they are. Okay. Okay, Shelby, you say hotels no, but you're saying the Airbnb is a catch 22. But isn't an Airbnb a hotel? I mean, they're renting it out. They're coming to, take a vacation there or, have a weekend, whatever, the same as they would at a hotel. So instead of staying at a hotel, they're staying at your Airbnb that you are, hey, D, welcome, that you are, what do I want to say? It's your advertising. And then Loverboy says, yeah, I'm sure big hotels have cameras everywhere. Okay, yes, Airbnb is a personal home, but you're renting it out. You're renting it out to people. You're treating it as it is a hotel. You're treating it, you are renting it out, to someone to stay for them to have a vacation. So it is a personal home. So could I say that if I own the whole hotel, is my hotel, is not a chain where other people may be investors or is publicly owners of it? But this is, if I say, well, this is my whole hotel and I have 22 rooms, does that make a difference from telling me I can't put cameras in your room or around the property or whatever, but you can? I'm just playing both sides here. Okay, Brenda says no place that requires privacy needs a camera, bathroom and bedroom for sure. If an Airbnb wants to do that, they should let people know. Okay, how many Airbnbs? Okay, let me read what Shelby says. Shelby says some people could trash the joint and have the cameras will protect the owners. Yes, that they will. But again, Shelby, I'm playing both sides. I'm just saying in terms of your privacy. In terms of your privacy. So if I were to go into a hotel and I trash the place, you would still know that I rented the place and it was me that trashed it. So if I had that expectation, Shelby's coming up. Hey, Shelby. Oh boy, is Shelby up? Let's see. Did Shelby come up? Let me send you another invite. There we go. Hey, Crucible. Okay, Shelby.
Okay. I just get tired of typing.
That usually does it.
I agree about the camera. In a hotel, it's pretty much down to I know who rented this room. In an Airbnb, I know it's down to who rented it, but like if you had a few friends over, there's no stipulation in an Airbnb if a person can have a few friends over. So, but it being in a bedroom, a bathroom, no, that is not something that you can have a camera in. But you should, in the disclosure of the paperwork that you have to sign when renting it, that they are cameras in the home.
Okay, but I guess where again I'm playing both sides. If you have an Airbnb and you're renting it out, and I understand what you're saying that you're putting cameras around because if someone trashes the property and what have you, but you're making the choice to rent out your home or your apartment, whatever. Just like a hotel makes the choice of renting this place out. A hotel, okay, there's a convention in town. After everyone leaves, they see, everyone who was on the first or the third floor and the, fifth floor, they trashed it, but they know who the guests were, so they can go after those people. Airbnb, they know who the guests are, so they can go after those people. And Crucible, if you don't mind, I want to kind of put you on the spot because I know you had a situation. No, he had a situation with an Airbnb, and I want to know what he thinks about this. So,
okay.
Because Shelby, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I guess if you know that you're going to lease your property out, yes, some things may break. Well, this may break, by accident, whatever. But then again, are these people inviting people over where they could trash the place?
Right.
So Crucible, welcome. I don't mean to put you on the spot. If you don't want to talk about it, you don't have to.
No, I'm fine with that. I was just thinking that myself, as a matter of fact. I
Okay,
remember it like it was yesterday.
So you want to tell Shelby your situation?
Yeah, I rented out my condo. I've got a fairly good sized place that I bought many years ago when I had a lot more money. But it's a very, very nice place for entertaining. I don't do any entertaining, but I had pictures of it up on Airbnb. I had forgotten all about it because I only rented it out one other time. It was when the Cubs played in the World Series a few years back, and somebody rented it for a night, and everything went fairly smoothly. Although they had many more people in here than they told me they were going to have, or that I was allowing them to have. But by the time I found out, everybody was here, and I just said, oh, well, and I just let it go. So fast forward a couple years later, on New Year's Eve, which should have been my first red flag, I get a phone call from somebody who wants to rent my condo out for New Year's Eve. And so he comes over. He's by himself, or he might have had a girl with him. And I said, okay, I'll show you around. And I showed him around, and I said, how many people are you planning to have? He goes, just a small group, maybe, 10 people at the most. I said, okay, you got to keep it down to under 15 people. I don't want this place. I went through the whole thing with him, and I just did not have a good feeling at all. At all. He was asking some weird questions, something like when I was leaving and when I was coming back, and I was just getting a real bad vibe. So this is about 6 o'clock or 6:30, and I'm leaving for the night, obviously. I got to find somewhere else to stay. So I park out in front of my condo. It's dark out because it's January or December. So nobody could see me, and I sat there for a good 45 minutes just waiting to see when the big onslaught was going to start. And it never did. It got to be almost 7 o'clock, and I thought, okay, you're overreacting here. Let's just let it go and move on with the night. So I did. I went out and stayed where I was going to stay, and I got a phone call from this guy at about 9:30, and I forget what he was asking. He was asking something about going up on the roof. And I just said, that's not a good idea. I don't want any liability up there and whatnot. And it turns out they went up there anyway. To make a long story short, as the night went on, I got more and more uneasy that I had made a big mistake. So I had a very restless night, get up the next morning, come out here, probably around 11 o'clock, and I could not believe what I had seen. They had trashed, they didn't wreck anything per se. There was a hole in one of the walls, which I was able to plaster over. They didn't really trash per se, but there was pizza boxes. There was pizza on the ceiling, if you could believe that. How that got on the ceiling, I'll never know. But they had broken bottles. They had spilled liquor. It was just a mess on steroids. But it wasn't like they had burned anything down or done anything. So the damage was cleanup. It was cleanup only, and I went back and forth with them, and I finally settled for a very small amount with Airbnb because, like I said, I had to take pictures, and they said, well, there's nothing really materially damaged here. You just had cleanup. We'll pay for that. So that's the last time I rented it out. I felt betrayed both times that I told these guys specifically what I would allow and what I wouldn't allow, and my car was barely off the street. And they started doing the exact opposite from what we had talked about. So I didn't have cameras I don't have cameras here. I'm not a big believer in that. And this came up on such short notice. I'm not in the Airbnb business. This was a one-off, and I wasn't really prepared for it. But I will never do it again. You can't trust people. They will tell you exactly what you want to hear, and they know damn well you're not going to be there during their stay. So if they get out before you get back home, good luck chasing them down.
Yeah.
So Shelby, I would like for you to respond to Crucible, but then I have a question for you. So Shelby.
Well, I guess in that case, well, I mean, I feel sorry for you in that case because that did happen. But if you have a video camera inside the home, you have access to that video camera. So you can watch periodically on your phone, on your computer, on your iPad, whichever, throughout the night to know what's going on in that structure.
Okay. So do you want to add anything else? Because Shelby, I do want to ask you something. Crucible, I want to ask Shelby something before you go on. So
Go
Shelby,
ahead.
did you want to add anything else to that?
No, that's all.
Okay. All right. And I'm not trying to put you on the spot because I'm playing both sides here because I'm actually split. I'm actually split on how I feel about this. So having Crucible said all of that, and you're saying that, you can, have access to it, people who have cameras, we can go on our phones and we can look, whatever. But if you took though, and again, that's like you said, your Airbnb is your personal property. So if those cameras were in a hotel room, they're not in the bathroom, but let's say you rented a suite, whatever, and you had cameras inside the suite, but not in the bedroom and not in the bathroom, and people are up there and they're tearing it up, whatever. What would you do? Would you react differently because it's a hotel as opposed to it being someone's personal property?
No, I would not act any different. I would throw them out.
Okay, so if you and your husband or you and your family went someplace and you went to a hotel and they had cameras, or let's say you went to a hotel and you rented a villa. Okay, the whole villa was yours, but they had cameras. Would you still stay
there? Well, as long as it wasn't in the bedroom or the bathroom.
So you would feel
and
comfortable.
It was stated to me that there were cameras. Yeah, I mean, okay. I don't have a problem with that.
Okay, all right. Crucible, did you want to say something?
There's a aside from the personal, I mean, when you're making a distinction, and it's an important one, you're making a distinction between your personal residence, and I know a handful of people who are in the Airbnb business as their business, and they rent properties out on a daily, weekly basis. So they own the properties, but they don't live in the properties. So the few times I've talked to them and they've had damage or something happened with a guest, they're upset, obviously, because they have to take the time to fix it. They can't rent that property out until the damage is fixed. It's time consuming, it's expensive, so on and so forth. But that's part of that business. I think people accept that that's just part of that business. When it's your own personal residence, and I'll still remember to this day, this was probably 5 years ago, when I walked in the next morning, the sense of betrayal that I felt, not just because I had trusted this person and we had just spoken about what the do's and don'ts were, there's something about seeing your personal residence in such a state of disarray and damage and disrespect. And if it were a hotel room or something, I would have felt completely differently because it wasn't my personal residence. There was something about coming into my personal residence and seeing what people that I trusted, and yeah, they paid me a lot of money for it, big deal. It wasn't the money. It was the sense that I walked into a place that I thought was my own personal space, and they took the liberty of completely disrespecting it. I got over it. It took me a couple of days, but it was a good day or two where I was just on edge, walking around the whole time. I couldn't even clean the place for 3 hours. That's how upset I was about what they had done to me personally. The damage, the money, the rest of it, that life goes on. But that experience of coming into your personal residence and seeing how somebody disrespected it, that was a tough one. I would not have had that reaction if it were a hotel room or another property.
Okay, I have a couple of comments to that. Let me get through these comments. Brina says cameras are communal areas and that are visible and the only ones I can get behind. Okay. Grit says he would install cameras. Brina says that sounds like a nightmare. You should have followed your intuition for sure. Shelby, could you mute for me for a moment?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, thank you. And then what else? And then Brina says, yeah, that really is disrespectful. A headache. And hey, Shy Lady is saying, hey. Okay, so Crucible, I understand what you're saying, but let's go to the hotel thing. Let's say again, that's my hotel. I own it. So whether it's a hotel or not, you know, tearing up somebody else's property is tearing up someone else's property. Whether it's, and I understand what you're saying, that you come in just like, people who say that their homes have been broken into and they feel violated, what have you. I understand that. But whether or not it's someone's home or whether or not it's a hotel, I would feel the same way. You trashed the place. The place was completely trashed. And, what's the difference? Because I do know that this happens. You invite some of your friends over, especially when you're younger. They end up trashing the place. So is there a difference there between your friends coming over and you having a party? I don't care if they're 16. I don't care if they're 20. They're still your friends or your child's friends or whatever, and they trash the place. Trashing something is trashing to me, no matter whose it is, if it's your personal property or if it was whatever. Trashing it is trashing it. So does anybody agree with that, or somebody want to push back? Crucible, you want to push back on that, or?
No, I don't. I'm in complete agreement. I just remember back when I was in high school, we would, when somebody's parents, we'd go to some of the wealthier suburbs around the area, where the parents were constantly socializing. They were out on Friday and Saturday night. So these were some nice houses, and they were usually, the parents were not home because they were out at a restaurant or at parties or whatever. So as usual, when you're senior in high school or a junior or something, you got about 4 or 5 hours of the house to yourself. The word gets out, you're going to have 6 or 8 people over. Next thing you know, there's 125 there, and all kinds of damage gets done. And I remember a handful of my friends had a very high price to pay. They were not allowed to use the car. They were not allowed to go for at least a couple of weeks, which was a big deal back then. And even though the kid was there for the party and took part, theoretically, in the trashing of his parents' place, it didn't matter that they were there for the whole thing. The parents looked at it as a act of betrayal. I told you, you can't have people over if you only can have so and so over. So yeah, the fact that the kids were there to participate, and I'm putting that in quotes, in the party or the trashing shouldn't make any difference. You're right, property is property, and they were severely punished the times that this stuff happened. So the parents didn't care that the son was part of it. That was probably what exacerbated it. But the fact that they went against their wishes, I think, is what really upsets people. I'm trusting you with something that's very important to me. I'm trusting you to take care of it. And as soon as my back is turned, not only do you not take care of it, you completely disrespect it. So it's wrong no matter who does it or where it happens.
I mean, and this is why I'm saying that I understand. I mean, you're going through this whole, trust thing and everything, and I understand that. But at the same time, have you guys ever read, when you all sign, go into a whole hotel, have you all ever read the fine print? Because the fine print also says you will not trash the place, you will not do this, and you will be responsible for any damage, whatever. So, and don't forget that hotel or whatever still belongs to someone else. So we may treat things, as well, okay, well, that's this big, they're this, whatever. It still belongs to someone else. Shelby, you want to say something? Shelby? Oh, Shelby's gone. Okay. Let's see. Dee says, people rent out places to have parties so they don't have to do them at their own homes. Yes. But at the same time, when you're renting them out, I mean, even when you rent places out, if you have a venue and you have a wedding or something, in that contract, if you your guest or something tear up the place, I guarantee you are paying for it. I guarantee you are paying for it. So it doesn't matter, if they're at your house or if you're at the country club or wherever, you are paying for it. So let's get back to the privacy part. Okay, so you have this camera inside of your home. Whether or not it picks up audio or not, and two people are sitting on your sofa and they're having a conversation that looks like it could be an argument. Do you turn the camera off at that point? I don't mean walk away, but do you turn the camera off because it's between them? Like, again, I ask you, at what point is it a violation of your guest's privacy? And Brina says, yeah, I would. That's not my business. Okay, so Brina, if it's not your business, then would you just not turn the cameras on at all during the entire party? Hey, Scooter. And don't say it, Scooter. You know exactly what I'm talking about. And Petty Deb says, no, I am listening to everything. Okay, so Deborah, I'm going to ask you, seriously, you're going to listen to everything. So even if two people are having a fight, or let's say someone is talking about, for anything, let's say two people are having a fight, and they're talking about finances, and they start talking about how much money is in their account, and you took this or you whatever. I mean, at what point, again, I say, is it your business? And okay, and Deb says, yeah, she is. Say what? I have no idea what you're talking about. Oh, Scooter. Oh, boy. And Brina says, nope. Okay. Anybody want to say something to that?
Yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I think I would leave it on the whole time. I don't know if I would listen to everything, but I think the whole purpose of cameras or any kind of surveillance is to capture as much of what's going on as possible. And we've all gotten used to cameras. I mean, they're just part of our lives, the ubiquity of them. I mean, you drive by an intersection, and it'll say, something about the intersection.
But Crucible, let me. I want to, but I'm going to interrupt you for a moment. Getting used to cameras out on the street is different from getting used to you go into someone's home and there is a camera. I'm sorry, I just think that's different.
Well, what I was going to say was the mere idea that there could be cameras, whether the cameras are working or not, who knows? As long as they're visible, they could be decoys. They could be, just props. But when you tell somebody that this area is under surveillance, whether it's a parking lot, whether it's an intersection, or whether it's a private home, sometimes there's an element of deterrence just by the fact that people know that they're being monitored. So whether do you
think everybody tells people that they have cameras inside their home? Do you think? I don't.
Yes.
Because I don't think people do. Not inside their home.
No, they probably don't, but they should. What's the point of having them? Because, like I said, that conveys a level of seriousness that you've thought of these things. You're not taking anything lightly. There's a trust thing. Yeah, they could say, well, you don't trust me. No, of course not. I don't even know you. So I think it's impossible to know if somebody said, well, I was going to trash this place, but then I remember that they had cameras there. People are either good or they're bad. They don't really think about.
But I'm not talking about that. My question was specific to, if I come over your house for a party, or I'm coming over your house, to whatever, and I'm sitting with someone else, and we're having a conversation that is, for the most part, private. Should you, number one, as soon as when we walk in, tell us that you have cameras? Because if that's the case, I will tell whomever I'm with, let's go outside. Number one, But even if you did tell us, and we're talking, and then like I said, you're starting to get into an argument, or it's just a private conversation, do you have the responsibility to turn that camera off, or do you keep going?
In my opinion, no, you don't.
Okay, all right, okay. That was my question, not the whole thing about surveillance and all. I'm just asking about privacy for your guests. Do you turn that camera off? So me personally, I would. I don't want to hear that. That's none of my business. I don't want to hear you having a fight with your husband or wife or even your kid. I mean, and some cameras, because I know people who have this, have audio, and they've picked up a lot of stuff. That's none of their business. And I
But
think that crosses the line.
But in today's world, and I'm not making excuses, but I think Scooter might have typed something in there. You might have mentioned it. What is a reasonable expectation of privacy in the world we live in today? I don't know that if you go into an Airbnb or if you go into a hotel and there's cameras or there's microphones or anything. I mean, it depends on what those people were intending to do with that footage or with those recordings. But where do you have full privacy anywhere in the world today?
Okay, and I understand that. I'm about to answer that. Let me get through some of these comments. Scooter says, I have cameras throughout my home. Deb says, I want to be a fly on the wall. People can log into your camera and spy on you with your own stuff. Scooter says, I catch Spanky doing weird things all the time. Reasonable expectation of privacy. That is a great question. Your phone is always listening. Alexa and Google Homes are always listening. Okay. And okay, so you guys are making a good point, but I'm talking about you personally, because I have come up upon people, and I'm pretty sure you all have too, where I may have come into the room and two people are either arguing or they're talking or they're having a personal talk or whatever, and I have come up upon people where it's a couple, they're not making out, but they're having a little tender moment. I turn around and I leave because it's none of my business. So why would you want to listen to that, or why would you want to see that? Yes, you can be that nosy Mrs. Kravitz, whatever. Yes, but um, me, for me, I just feel that when if someone comes into my home, and I'm just not going to invite, if I'm having a party, I'm not going to have a stranger in my home. I'm hoping I'm going to invite someone that I can, reasonably trust, whatever. But you want them to feel comfortable in your home. And if a person, for me, I wouldn't feel comfortable in somebody's home that had cameras, because I'm like, it's like, well, if I scratch, my butt, this, or, if I whisper to, say something to the person I'm with, and, whatever, are they listening? I'm not talking about stealing something. I'm just talking about just feeling comfortable. So, just like you go over those people's homes who, they are neat freaks, and, you can't even move without them saying, okay, don't touch that. Don't touch that. You have people who want you to take your shoes off in their home, which is fine. But then you lean up against the wall to take your shoes off. They're like, oh, can you not lean up against the wall? Okay, give me a damn chair. So I'm just saying, just in terms of reasonable privacy for that particular guest, are you going to keep recording? Do you turn it off if you know that people are having a private chat? Would you say, guys, I have cameras, you may want to take that conversation outside? That's what I would do. So, but that's just me.
Yeah.
Can I say something?
Oh yeah, Shelby. Yeah.
Okay, in that situation, I would definitely, and it's in my home, it's my party, I would turn the cameras off for that night.
Okay. Okay, now would you be concerned that even though you're turning the cameras off, that something may come up missing?
No.
Okay, because for the most
'Cause-
part, I think if you invite people over your house and they are your friends, people are not going to steal.
Take something.
Right. So, okay. Crucible?
Well, yeah, I think your original question was, do you have a responsibility? And I don't want to split hairs here or anything, but is there a difference between a responsibility and maybe, like you said, you walk in on somebody and they're, having a tender moment or something, and no, it is none of your business. I would do the same thing, turn around and walk out. But when you're thinking about responsibility, there's a different standard with that. Now, would I have a moral obligation to turn them off because of the privacy and issue, whatnot? Perhaps. I mean, if I'm a moral person and I want to do the quote unquote right thing, that would be a nice gesture on my part. I don't believe it would be my responsibility because I'm trying to protect an asset of mine, a piece of property, my belongings, or what have you. And so my responsibility is to protect my property, right? But in the interest of being a good person and being a moral person, there's certain things I shouldn't hear or be privy to. So I would maybe turn the cameras off for that reason. But do I have a responsibility to do it? No, I don't think so.
Okay, all right. And Scooter says, what about liability? Someone's going to sue you over something. Okay, Scooter, you have a point, but the liability was always there before cameras even came into place. I mean, the liability was always there back in 1920 before the cameras were there. If you go into my house and you trip and fall because, I left a basketball in the middle of the floor, or you're walking up to my front door and the water hose is all over the place and you trip, the liability is always there. That camera is not going to change anything. So the liability is always there. But I understand what you're saying. If you're referring to that, if someone did take something, but I do believe that Juju, welcome. I do believe that for the most part, because I don't know everybody's friends, whatever. When people come over your house, for a meeting or get together or whatever, reunion, whatever, they're pretty much not going to take anything. Now, there are people who are nosy. I have people who are nosy, whatever. But, just in terms of can I come in your house and know that, yes, you've told me you have cameras, but are you, looking at everything that I do or listening to everything? And again, I say, I don't think everyone let people know that they have cameras, because you can put cameras in a lot of different places where you don't know that they have them. And I don't think that a lot of people even tell their guests. I'm not talking about the guy, the phone man or, the gas man who comes in. I'm talking about just your regular guests, your so-called friends. They don't tell them that they have cameras. Let's see. Scooter says Judy is moral. Yep, just easy to prove they're lying people in your home. Okay. And then Scooter says Crucible, me too, but every third Sunday only on leap years. Okay. All right. So I don't know. So Scooter, hold on, Crucible. I just want to ask Scooter something real quick. So Scooter, you have cameras throughout your home. So I for lack of a better way of saying this, do you, like, when your family, like, if they're, are you, lack of a better term, do you, I don't want to use the word spy, but do they have any privacy? Okay, Scooter says, yes, I spy. Okay, all right. Crucible?
Well, wouldn't it make sense to me? Because to your point about, letting people know that you have cameras or whatnot, I don't go into a lot of people's homes these days. I don't do a lot of socializing, probably a little bit of hangover from the COVID stuff and whatnot. But I do go into some people's homes, and I never even think. I wonder if they have cameras. Now I'm there with them, so I'm not there by myself. So maybe that's why I don't think of it. But wouldn't it be better for everybody involved if you did have cameras, and people were coming over, and whether you were going to be there or not, let them know that you have cameras throughout your house, and I think that gives people something in the back of their minds, not that they were planning to steal anything or misbehave or whatnot, but knowing that there's something there, I think gives people a different level of responsibility or obligation. They think differently, I think. So particularly if you're going to leave people in your house by themselves overnight, I think you would want to tell them that you have cameras. Every little bit of deterrence, I think, could help. And I think it's just fair to them that they know what environment they're going to be staying in overnight.
Okay. All right. Scooter, welcome.
Solid Blue. It's time to, I got to clear this mess up. You're making me look bad. Cameras all over my house. I'm spying on the whole world. I am spying, but it's for a good cause.
Okay.
I got to clarify that.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Here's the thing. About 5 years ago, I moved my elderly mother in with me. She's 90 years old. She's going to live longer than the Queen, by the way, if you were wondering. She has Alzheimer's and dementia.
Okay.
And I have a whole lot of people, as a matter of fact, they're getting ready to come, that come and work with her on a daily basis. Home health care, nurses, memory specialists, folks like that. They come in here. And I told them all, I said, look, here's the deal for my mom's safety and for your safety. I have everything wired up. I have video and audio feeds for all of the rooms that my mother inhabits. Because number one, I want her to be safe. Mm-hmm. So if I'm working in my office, I don't want to have to worry about what she's wandering off to do, whether she's going to head outside with no clothes on or, little things like that. So it's a necessity in my case. And I let everybody know, except for Spanky. Well, Spanky knows anyway, because I've shown him the video of himself doing things he shouldn't have done. But they're a part of life. You don't have a reasonable expectation to privacy, even when you're walking around.
Oh, okay. Now, Brina says Scooter's situation makes complete sense. And again, Scooter, I'm not talking about walking around, the street, because like I said, the majority of the country, if not the world, has cameras. I
have something to say about Scooter's situation.
No, go ahead, Shelby.
He has an elderly mother. And to keep her, I'm assuming, from going into a nursing home, which would be 10 times worse, he's protecting his mother from elderly abuse, I'm sure.
And I have for the reasons that Scooter has his cameras, I totally agree. But Scooter, this is what I'm going to ask you. Let's say that you had people over, and your mom was safe and sound in her room, or let's say she was going to go stay with someone else, for the day, whatever. But she was not in a situation where you needed to be concerned about her. But let's say that you had guests over, and you said that you have audio, whatever. If a couple were engaged in an argument or something, would you turn it off?
No, I would not.
Would you go back and listen to it later?
Depends on how much I liked them, and if it was good TikTok material, social media material. I mean, you gotta balance that out. I don't have. If
you have two people who are like, really going at it, but they're, you have those people who are smiling, for everybody else. Hi, how are you? Whatever. But they're really going at it. And it's really personal. You would go back and you would listen to that?
Hypothetical situation. Characterize it, because I love to try to throw you curves. Characterize it along these beats. You have a dinner party. You have some cocktails. You've got couples and you've got friends and things. and say a couple decides to saunter off into a back room because they want a little privacy. Maybe they're having a discussion. Maybe they're becoming amorous. Who knows what they're doing? But what if something happens in that back room that does have a camera on it where somebody gets injured, where there's a domestic violence episode, and somebody definitely needs to get help? Yeah, I'm gonna check that out, and I'm gonna use it. And I'll turn it over to the attorneys and let them do with whatever they will. Or the authorities.
Okay, and I can understand that, but I'm gonna throw you one. So let's say that you have a mother, who is reprimanding her child, or vice versa, and it gets heated, and they're really just going at it, whatever, but nothing happens. There's just a mother and their child, they're going at it. Would you listen to that? I'm not talking about somebody getting hurt. I'm talking about just listening in on a conversation, even if they don't go into a back room. If they're just standing in the middle of your living room and they're saying whatever and your audio, I'm just saying, at what point do you know? And I think you know what I'm saying. I'm just saying, do you listen to that conversation that is private? If a husband goes up to his wife or whatever, or his wife comes home and says, hey, I was going to talk to you about this when we got home, but I'm really pissed. I went to the bank today and there's $2,000 missing. Whatever. What did you buy? Is that your business? Are you going to listen to that?
Oh, okay. So why are they bringing their business into my house? Why don't they go get out?
Okay, but how many people? Okay, but how many people come to parties and talk about personal stuff? You have a lot of people who go to parties, because when you think about it, when people are off, when you go to a party, whatever, in someone's home, and you have a group here, or you have a couple here, or you have two women here or two men there, you really don't know what they're talking about. They could be talking about personal stuff, and I would say a lot of times they probably are. Everybody's probably not saying, hey, so what'd you do yesterday? I haven't seen you in 20 years. I think that people are talking about personal things.
Oh, I'm sure they are. They're talking about the other person that's standing over on the other side of the room. Oh my God, did you see what she wore? She's such a slut. I can't believe. Oh, sorry.
Scooter, but you know what I'm talking about. I'm just saying, do your guests have some level of privacy, whether they're having a private conversation amongst themselves, or like I said, if a woman goes to fix her bra and her hand is halfway down down her shirt, do you go back and look at that later? I mean, I'm just saying, reasonable expectation of privacy, because I've seen women do a lot when it comes to fixing their bra. So
see now, okay, so that's decency. Do I have the decency not to look or listen to those kind of things? And then you've got the morality issue.
Okay,
I don't care.
Decency. Do you have the decency?
Yeah, I'm not going to. I'm not even going to post that on TikTok, and no matter how juicy and salacious it may be. But the thing is, I really, I don't know. I don't see that many people who do those kind of things. I've seen some couples get in heated arguments, and then they go home, they leave, and then we all stand around and talk about those people who got in the heated argument. So what's the difference between me going back and watching?
Those people do leave, but do you go back and look at the audio? Do you go back and listen or look at the tape? Do you go back and look at it, or do you just delete it and say, you know what, it's too bad that they came and that happened? You delete it and you just keep going.
Well, see, now it depends, because, if one of the two, if the couple calls me, I said, did you see that argument? Can you believe I may go back and look at it for scoring purposes, just to let them know if they were in the right or in the wrong. But generally, no.
But if it's none of your business, then you really have no business to say if they're having a private conversation.
No. Okay, so when I invite Mr. and Mrs. Solid Blue into my home, when you cross that threshold, then you make it my business. because
Okay.
that's my
All right.
home. That's my abode.
Okay.
And I will tell you on the front side, I'll say, Solid, look up here over in the left corner. There's a camera there. There's microphones throughout. There's a camera in the dining room, the kitchen. There's a camera in certain other areas. No cameras in the bathroom. So you can be, I'm not completely perverted like Spanky. But that's, if you want to go
Okay.
argue in the bathroom, go for it. But the walls are thin, so everybody will still hear you. But you
Okay.
you cross my threshold. You make it my business.
Okay. So what
So
if you? Okay. So let me ask this. So Mr. and Mrs. Solid Blue come over your house and have an argument, and you decide to the next day or whatever to tell one of us who which your opinion was, and if we told you it's none of your business, how would you respond? Because I think that would be a lot of nerve to come back and tell somebody, oh, by the way, I was watching the tape and I just want you to know that Salad, I thought you were wrong, or or Mr. Blue, I mean, I think that's just a lot of nerve.
that is a lot of nerve. Okay, so that would be unsolicited, which I would not do. So, but if Mr. Solid came to me and said, Scooter, I mean,
oh well, yes. If he,
yes, with Mrs.
Okay.
Solid, what do you think? Was I in the right or was I in the wrong? And I'm going to go back and I'm going to say, okay, so you shouldn't have used those words. You should have used these words, maybe. Perhaps that would have conveyed your point. No,
and you would not
unsolicited.
And you would not show any of that tape to anyone else.
No.
Okay. All right.
No, the only reason, like I said, the only reason I have is for the protection of my mother and
that
other
I
people's
understand,
protection.
and absolutely, totally, I totally get that. So, Crucible or Shelby, do you guys want to respond to what Scooter said, or push back, or not push back on me, or?
No, I thought Scooter made an excellent point. I had not really thought of it in those terms, but when you invite people into your home, not only, I mean, do they not have a reasonable expectation of privacy anymore? They're in your space now, and you govern that space. You are giving them a reasonable understanding of where the lines are drawn, I suppose. So yeah, when they're coming into your, whether it's your place of business or whether it's your home, now the rules are your rules. So you really, they shouldn't have a reasonable expectation of privacy. You should have a reasonable expectation that people are going to do what you ask them to do in your home. And if cameras help to do that, then that's what you should do. But yeah, you kind of forfeit not all of your rights, but they are a bit superseded by the rules of the person who owns the house. So I thought that was a good observation.
Okay, and Crucible, I'm just going to say that you only agree with Scooter because y'all got this love thing going on. But anyway, Shelby.
Judy's the best. You leave him alone.
Nobody ever calls me Judy, so we're in love. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Shelby, what would you like to say?
I agree with Scooter in his, overall projection of why he has the cameras. But as far as having them on and his reasonings, I don't. But, it's just, that's everybody. Everybody has their own opinion as the reasons why and the reasons not why. So.
Okay. All right. So, guys, we have covered everything. Does anybody else want to say anything? See, I'm doing good keeping the show down to an hour. I am so proud of myself. Scooter?
Solid. I just want you to mark in my column, 2 people agreed with me today. That's all I've got to say.
And I was going to, reprimand Shelby, but I'll say that for
Hey, don't go back and listen to the tape and reprimand her. That's wrong.
Oh, Shelby,
wait a minute! Now I feel.
Shelby, you agree with us, Scooter, even though I half agree with him. The only reason I agree with him because he's using it for his mom. But other than that,
that's
Shelby,
what I've done. That's what I've done.
Mm-hmm, yeah, but you still said Mm-hmm. So,
I'll make it up to you, I swear.
But you have to make it up to me on a time that Scooter is on the show, and whether or not you agree with him or not, you have to say you disagree with him.
Okay.
That's when the big words are coming out solid. Just be aware. I'm telling you now.
Uh-oh. All right. We won't use that word. So, okay, guys. So for tomorrow, I don't have a show posted, but I do have a show posted for Wednesday. I may or may not have a show tomorrow. It all depends upon if I get back in time to do a show. If I do, it will definitely be last minute. But as of now, on the safe side, I said I better not post a show. So I do not have a show posted tomorrow, but I could have one. But Wednesday, definitely have one. And Thursday, I am going to have a show. I am just going back and forth with the topic. So on that note, everyone, enjoy the rest of your day or evening where you are in the world. Go where the wind takes you. And Scooter, Crucible, and Shelby, thank you for popping up. And everyone else, thank you for liking the show and coming on. I do appreciate it. So on that note, see you later. Bye. Okay. Hey, Minnesota, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Bye, Shelby. And Power Girl, Lover Boy, Rena, thank you all. Frankie, D-Mac, thank you all. Thank you all. I know I'm forgetting somebody, but thank you all for popping in. Grid, I'm forgetting Grid. Great Grid. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And Dee, thank you very much for popping in on Saturday. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. That was good of you. Good of you to do. Crucible too. Thank you. Thank you. And Petty Deb, thank you for popping on. So, okay, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.